Good day, everybody. This is Gilly Sniper 300 with the Outdoor Sports Club channel, and I'm going to make a video here, or the purpose of this video is to talk about some semantics, I suppose, definitions and the usage of words, specifically the term sniper rifle. And the background behind this video that I'm doing right now is we put up a video a while back about budget sniper rifles. And the point of the video was to make, just to bring up the conversation and the topic of what it takes to get yourself into a long-range rifle. I'm not really confident that the conventional wisdom that you have to spend, tons of money on such a gun is right. I don't believe, for most people's purposes, it takes that much money to get yourself into a precision platform. So we made this video about budget sniper rifles, and we got some comments about the fact that sniper rifle was an improper term, and some of the points were pretty good, and some of them I disagree with. It doesn't, ultimately, and at the end of the video, hopefully we can talk about this a little bit, but ultimately I don't think that that's something that I'm really that comfortable arguing. I'm not that interested in arguing about that terminology, but I wanted to go over some of the points because you're going to hear us making jokes in some of our videos about sniper rifles, and I tend to call them long-range precision bullet delivery platforms as a joke, simply because I'm interested in finding an expedient and accurate way to describe what I'm trying to do. That way I can be brief. I have trouble with brevity in my videos, as anyone who's watched any of them tends to probably notice. But I try to be as brief as possible while also getting my point across in the most expedient way. And as long as you know what I'm talking about and there's not any confusion about what it is that we are referring to, I don't see the problem in it, personally. So let me get into some of these arguments, or some of these points that people made, and then we'll talk about it a little bit. So one of the points was there's no such thing as a sniper rifle. It was just, that was it. No such thing as a sniper rifle. There was one that was, it's not a sniper rifle, it's a sniper's rifle. And I don't believe they put the apostrophe in it, but whatever. There was a person who said there's no such thing as a sniper rifle, it's just a rifle that is used by a sniper. So the trend there is that it's not the gun, it's the person, okay? Then there was another argument, or another point that was, it's a designated marksman rifle, not a sniper rifle, or basically saying that let's not use the term sniper rifle, let's use the term long-range precision rifle, marksman rifle, designated marksman rifle, things like that. There were those kinds of points made. There was another one. Oh, it's not a sniper rifle until it's used by a sniper. If it's used by a guy like me, it's just a long-range precision rifle. Things like that. There was one guy, and I don't totally disagree with him, but he was very adamant that it's the same type of a usage of a word as assault rifle, and we shouldn't use it because the liberals and the media and some people on the right, even some conservatives even, would use that term to evoke an emotional response from people who don't know any better, to get some kind of a political agenda, to get some traction for that political agenda. And I don't disagree with that. I do disagree with where we go with that. Okay, so that's the bulk of the arguments in some form or another. So my point is, it doesn't really matter. So let's start with basically the idea of the sniper rifle, or the sniper. So where did that term come from? Oh, there was a comment about how it's a military term for shooting people at long distance, and it has nothing to do with these types of guns like what I have. Okay, that I was reminded by my first point of going back and touching that. So the term sniper originated as a hunting term, or at least that's my understanding of it. That I think is most people's understandings of it. And people would hunt these snipe, and snipe were hard to hit, so people who could hit them with some kind of consistency were referred to as snipers. It originated as a hunting term. I don't know that it was used as a military term or a battlefield term until maybe World War I. World War II, maybe even as late as Vietnam. I'm not for sure when it started being used as a military term, but I do believe that in early military marksmanship roles, I think they were referred to as sharpshooters. And in some cases, they had the exact same equipment that, you know, a regular person would have. They were just better at using it. So that lends credit to the argument that it's the person, not the gun. Another point is that, you know, what feature does it take to become a sniper rifle? Okay, this is my hunting rifle. It's not exactly built like a sniper rifle. It's got a fancy thumbhole stock. It doesn't have a tactical stock or even a usual stock that you'd see on one of these kinds of guns, but it does have this, you know, fattened front end. It has a Picatinny base, 20 MOA. It's got some, you know, burris rings on it. It's got bull barrel, bipod, light trigger, high-powered optic, all that good stuff. So does that count as a sniper rifle, or are those the features that are required for a sniper rifle? My argument is there aren't any specific features that are required for a sniper rifle. It's more about the capabilities of the gun. You know, what can the gun do? Can it hold a certain MOA out to a certain range that is within its intended use? If that's the case, chances are it's a sniper rifle. So that kind of lends credit, again, to the fact that maybe it's not the gun itself, maybe it's the shooter. I still disagree because of the simple point that how does this gun change form, function, capabilities when it leaves my hands and enters the hands of someone else? How does it change its purpose and its role? Now, obviously, I don't intend to go shoot people with that. That's a hunting gun. So you could make the case that, okay, for you, or for me, in this case, it's not a sniper rifle, it's a hunting gun. Okay, fine. It's a long-distance hunting gun. That's cool. But, you know, it has the same capabilities regardless of whether it's in my hands or whether it's in the hands of someone more capable. Another argument to that end is, what's the difference between law enforcement snipers and military snipers? You know, this isn't a knock against law enforcement snipers, but it's a completely different thing to be a law enforcement sniper compared to a military sniper. Okay, and I could go on and on about that. I know a lot of people who are pretty sneaky in the woods and pretty good at long distance shooting, and they can hide and they can get around pretty quickly. I don't think I know anyone who, even with training, could very easily pass the military sniping assessments or tests or whatever you want to call them. So the gun doesn't change capabilities. It doesn't change features, it doesn't change function. Really, it's the same gun regardless of whose hands it's in. So I don't know that you can really make the claim, or at least while I may agree to disagree, I don't think that the gun changes when it changes hands. Okay? An example, and I'm wearing this shirt to kind of illustrate this point. This is not an assault rifle, and this is a semi-automatic carbine because it doesn't have a fun switch or what you might call a turbo. You know, it doesn't have that function. So this is not an assault rifle. I fired assault rifles, okay, and let me put it down this way. I have fired assault rifles. This is not one of them. The law, the federal government recognizes that there's a difference between assault rifles and carbines. There's a completely different process involved with acquiring an assault rifle. It's a very lengthy process, it's a very expensive process, it's a very frustrating process. And it's completely different than walking into a store and buying one of these and walking out with it, which you can do at least in the state where I live. I walked out with that gun. So how would this is not an assault rifle. If I handed this to some of the people I know who are active military right now, would it suddenly become an assault rifle? No, it's still a semi-automatic carbine, just because it's in the hands of someone who might be, I've got my sling all messed up, not to change subjects or anything. Just because I hand it to someone who might be assaulting an enemy position doesn't turn it into an assault rifle. It's still what it is. It's, you know, a semi-automatic carbine. It's kind of like saying, okay, I've got some pistols here. This right here is, it's a full-frame pistol. It's their version of a full-frame pistol. It's got a 17-round mag. Is that a high capacity mag? No, it's a standard capacity mag. So yeah, there's some issues with nomenclature there, because they are very definable things. They are very, very definable features that make things fall into a certain category. This is my PF9. That's a subcompact. You know, this is a carry piece. At what point does it become a non-carry piece? Now we're talking about things that are more opinions. Springfield XDS, 9mm, still a carry piece for most people. This guy right here, without the light on it, a lot of people could carry. I can't, so this isn't a carry piece. At that point, you know, we're not talking about a fun switch anymore. We're not talking about a selector switch. We're talking about opinion type things. So there we get into the gray areas. That's kind of where the sniper rifle is. It's kind of a gray area. So I don't buy the fact that if it's in the hands of one person, it's a sniper rifle, and when it's in the hands of another, it's not. Okay, and that leads us into the discussion of not just liberals, but certain people trying to evoke emotional responses, calling things like, you know, semi-automatic carbines assault rifles, calling things like 17-round mags that fit flush with the bottom of the gun a high-capacity mag, and calling things like this a sniper rifle. They're going to do that regardless. They're going to do that no matter what we do and what we call things. So if you call it a semi-automatic, I'm sorry, I'm on the other page still. If you call this a long-range precision platform, they're still going to use that or the term sniper rifle because it's commonly accepted as a method of evoking an emotional response. So it doesn't really matter what we call them at that point. I think we're better served saying, you know, explaining to people who might not know as much or might not know any better what they need to fear and what they don't. You know, we need to teach them about what is really going on with the world, what these guns really are, what they're capable of. We need to teach them about the responsibilities and accountabilities of owning firearms and using firearms. And we just need to make sure that, again, and I harp on this a lot, we need to be educating, not griping amongst ourselves. That's kind of my point in this whole thing. Agree to disagree on things that are gray areas. And like things like an assault rifle, I get it. That's an assault rifle. That has a feature that defines it as an assault rifle. You know, everyone accepts that as an assault rifle. The federal government, we do, you know, in every way, shape, and form that's an assault rifle or not, based on a feature. Sniper rifles don't have that. Okay, so that's my point. And I realize that there are some people out there, the Moss Pond guys on their channel, which they're great guys. I love their videos. I think that they might be one of the best gun-related video channels on YouTube. And I really appreciate their insights, and their videos are really cool and entertaining and informative all at the same time, while not being really long and boring like mine are. Those guys disagree with me. They say that this is, I think they call it a long-range precision platform. I'm cool with that. I can get down with that, but if I say sniper rifle, you know what I mean. I know what I mean. And we can move on down the road. So I get it that it evokes an emotional response and some people aren't comfortable with that. I'm comfortable with it. So if you guys hear us making jokes, calling things, you know, long range, precision bullet delivery platform and stuff like that, you know, we're not meaning any offense by it. We're not trying to start an argument. It's just a simple fact that we recognize sniper rifle as a commonly accepted term for a long range rifle, precision rifle. And everybody knows what we're talking about. So it's really easy. It's kind of like, this is a little bit different deal, but you know, I kind of make jokes about how this is my steer, because I caught a lot of flack when I shot some videos on this and people were saying I was pronouncing it wrong. If I say stare, which I do on purpose now, if I say stare, you know what I'm talking about. There's no ambiguousness about what I'm saying. So I can call it that. You know, you can call something a Mosin Nagant, another guy can call it a Mosin Nagant. It doesn't really matter. We know exactly what they're talking about, and that's kind of my purpose here. I don't really see you getting bent out of shape about this being called a sniper rifle, even though everyone knows that I'm not a sniper, and that this is not the kind of gun that's going to go to Afghanistan. Okay, it's a 300 Win Mag. It can do the job, but it's a little too fancy. It doesn't have enough aftermarket parts because it's a Browning. So it's not your typical sniper rifle or sniper's rifle. It's a long-range precision bullet delivery platform. So anyway, I'm sure I could say a lot more about it, but I want to let the subject go, just so everybody knows that I'm on board with some of that. I understand some of those comments and concerns. I just tend to disagree with some of them, and I'm going to continue referring to those kinds of guns as sniper rifles because of its expediency and its common acceptance, and the fact that liberals and media and the conservatives that want to use it for emotional responses are still going to use it for emotional responses, and they're going to use whatever terms we come up with to label things to get emotional responses out of people. That's what they're going to do. That's their mission. That's their objective. I think that and they're always going to recognize that, and they're always going to fulfill their objectives to the best of their abilities. I think we need to do our part and to fulfill our objectives as, you know, people that are out there trying to educate other people to make change for the better in our country and in our world, try to get people involved with shooting sports so they can understand better, you know, how safe it can be when you're paying attention, how fun it can be, how beneficial it can be, and you know, and teach people proper usage of terms when it matters, so that we know what we're talking about, so that there's no confusion and no, you know, unsafe or irresponsible situations going on. But we can't help it when people use terms irresponsibly, other than to do that education. So that's my stance, and I'm going to leave it at that because I will get long-winded if I keep going. So everybody, have a good one. Thanks for watching.